शरण प्रभु की आजारे। बारंबार मिले ना ये मानुष जन्म, शरण प्रभु की आजारे। तज दे क्रोध मद मोह निर्मल कर ले तू मन, मन अनमोल रे। बोल मधुर वचन हर ले सब का तू मन, मधुरस घोल रे। कर ले संगों का संग, तज मन मिथ्या कुसंग, शरण प्रभु की आजारे। पल पल जीवन जाए रे, कर ले प्रभु का भजन, शरण प्रभु की आजारे।
सहना भवतु, सहनौ भुनक्तु, सह वीर्यं करवावहै, तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Together we'll chant Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, verses 21 to 30.
कार्यकारणकर्तृत्वे हेतुः प्रकृतिरुच्यते, पुरुषः सुखदुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते। पुरुषः प्रकृतिस्थो हि भुङ्क्ते प्रकृतिजान् गुणान्, कारणं गुणसङ्गोऽस्य सदसद्यो निजन्मसु। उपद्रष्टानुमन्ता च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरः, परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तः देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः। य एवं वेत्ति पुरुषं प्रकृतिं च गुणैः सह, सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि न स भूयोऽभिजायते। ध्यानेनात्मनि पश्यन्ति केचिदात्मानमात्मना, अन्ये साङ्ख्येन योगेन कर्मयोगेन चापरे अन्ये त्वेवमजानन्तः श्रुत्वान्येभ्य उपासते तेऽपि चातितरन्त्येव मृत्युं श्रुतिपरायणाः यावत् सञ्जायते किञ्चित् सत्त्वं स्थावरजङ्गमम् क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञसंयोगात् तद्विद्धि भरतर्षभ समं सर्वेषु भूतेषु तिष्ठन्तं परमेश्वरम् विनश्यत्स्व विनश्यन्तं यः पश्यति स पश्यति समं पश्यन् हि सर्वत्र समवस्थितमीश्वरम् न हि नस्त्यात्मनात्मानं ततो याति परां गतिम् प्रकृत्यैव च कर्माणि क्रियमाणानि सर्वशः यः पश्यति तथात्मानम् अकर्तारं स पश्यति
Oh, Sankiji, you have to unmute.
Thank you. So in the 22nd verse, we studied our normal law or everyday law. Which was the law we studied?
Spirit plus matter equals individual.
We can't hear you. What did you say? What happened? Spirit plus matter is equal to individual. Very good. Though if you're writing it, you have to write capital S. So spirit plus matter is equal to the individual. Of course, we put it in a very bland and boring way. He has put it in a very nice way. Yavat sanjayate kinchit. Kinchit means whoever, whatever. Sanjayate is born. Yavat, whatever is born. Sattvam stavara jangamam. Sattvam means any being, which is either stavara or jangamam, which means either an inanimate object or a living being. Doesn't matter what it is. Or stavara literally means ekam sthanam tishtati. In one place it is there. Okay, so what all can you put in that? You can put inanimate objects. You can also put plants, right? So you can make, in English, sometimes you can do these various, you have to do these various things because in Sanskrit as a language has a peculiar quality that English as a language doesn't have. And as far as I know, no other language seems to have this. Objects, it is not fixed. Like in English, the word table refers to a particular object. It's a very fixed correlation. But in Sanskrit, it doesn't always work like that because they don't refer to an object, they refer to a quality. So if you take a word such as, give me some words, Pankaja. Okay, so Pankaja means what?
Lotus.
Yes. Or no? I mean, you know Pankaja as a lotus, but actually it's not, the word doesn't mean lotus. The word means that which is born from the mud, from the water. So So technically, this word could be used for anything that comes like that. Okay, so that is why, like, suppose you say Shankara Bhashya. So you make it Shankarya. Now, when you say Shankarya, it means the Bhasha, but it would also mean his son. It could also mean something else because the word actually refers to only the quality of having come from Shankara. So this is a peculiar quality about the Sanskrit language, that words don't always refer to objects, they refer to qualities. And that is also the richness of the language, because then you can play around with it. And also the trouble in the interpretation, because you can use that quality for anything. So here now you take a word like stavaram. Stavaram means that which is fixed in one place. So therefore, if you're translating it into English, you put it as the moving and the unmoving, and therefore it will be further interpreted as either inanimate objects and living beings, on the grounds that the stavaram could be fixed in one place and doesn't move, and plants and all other living beings, they move, they have some conscious movement themselves, and therefore they will come under the moving. Or alternatively, you can say stavaram as the plants because they are rooted, and the animals because they are moving. Whichever one works. As far as we are concerned, it is the whole world. You want to classify the world this way or that way, doesn't matter. Because wherever the world exists, what also exists?
The spirit.
The spirit exists. Wherever the snake exists, the rope exists. Now, whether you see it as a snake or you see it as a twig, the rope is there. Is that clear? So therefore, in everything that we see, there is this combination of spirit and matter. What is there and what we think is there. This combination of spirit and matter is in everything which is within this created universe. Anything that has a birth means anything that has a creation, and anything that has an end. Something has come into being and then stopped being. All of these things are a combination of spirit and matter. Yavat sanjayate kinchit sattvam, whichever it be, stavaram jangamam, the moving or the unmoving. Kshetra kshetrajna sanyogat. It is the sanyogam, it is the union of the kshetra and the kshetrajna. Tat vidhi. Know this. Tat vidhi says all the time in the Gita, you'll hear it all the Tat vidhi. Know this, know this. O Bharatarshava. O bull among the Bharatas. O bull among the Bharatas means you are a very sacrificial and noble person. People who come to listen to the blessed words of the Lord have to be sacrificial and noble. Otherwise, they can't have access to this knowledge. It's a very, very strange thing in life. You will find some people just simply cannot relate to this. Cannot relate. They don't know. It's not that they don't like it. They can't relate to it. Until we have won the war of the gods and the demons, until somehow the good is more in us than the bad, this knowledge will not become accessible. So, O Bharatarshava, Bharata refers to all of us who live in Bharatvarsha. Now we must take a more Catholic interpretation of that. Who are those who live in Bharatvarsha now? Those who live in Bharatvarsha are those who are geographically in this location, those who are of Indian origin, and those of our friends who are mentally with us. All of this, because now we have so many people who are not Indians, right? So now it will look like, oh, only Indians. No, anyone who's mentally with this knowledge. Why are you frowning at me, Aditi? You're not willing to include the others also in Bharatvarsha. Everybody who associates with the idea of that the Indians, that this geography created becomes part of Bharatvarsha. Excuse me. Right? So all of us, as you are a bull among Bharat, means you are the most sacrificial amongst them. You are the person willing to do the most sacrifice. What does it mean to sacrifice? It means you are willing. Excuse me. Sorry. It means you're willing, at least to some extent, to sacrifice your self-interest for others. At least to some extent. When the conversation is not just all about me. What am I willing to do for something more than me? That's a big question. Excuse me.
Janaki,
Yeah.
when you say that we should be willing to make sacrifices for others, can it be instead of others for the truth as we perceive it?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Because truth is all pervading, right?
Yes.
So if you put it in a more emotional manner, it will become everyone. And if
Yes.
you put it in a more intellectual manner, it will become for the truth. Both mean exactly the same thing.
Okay.
So when you're willing to take this conversation, which you have with yourself, beyond just what I am going to get, every one of us wants progress in this world. Who doesn't? Now, there are two things involved in this. One is what, according to you, is progress? And secondly, for whom is the progress? If you understand progress of yourself as purification of your personality, then you're aligned to these ideas. And your work is for the progress of other people. Personally, you have to grow. And physically means the work you do has to be for the world. Now, whenever we say this, the first objection everybody has is that, oh, then people will take advantage of me. People will take me for granted. People will do all this and do that. Hey, Baba, pehle to thoda to service karo. Fir ye sab socho. When you do service, you yourself will know this person is taking advantage. It is not good for that person. And hence, I will not let him take advantage. Like we have a strict rule in this house. I made this strict rule. I don't give the staff advances. I just don't. So they don't like that, obviously, because every now and then they will come and say, Abhi ye hua, abhi wo hua, abhi wo hua, abhi iske liye paise chahiye, uske paise. I said, no way. You're not getting an advance at all, zero. Now they don't like it. But of course, now they're all used to me and they're used to my idiosyncrasies. So that way it's okay. But they genuinely feel, excuse me, that they need an advance. This belief that they need an advance is bad for their mental health. And therefore, you do not do this thing. Nobody is taking you for granted. Please do not believe that people take you for granted. When you really care for people, you don't they can't take you for granted because you are actually doing it for their welfare. So where's the question of taking you for granted? If their welfare is obtained, then you have achieved what you wanted to do. But if you do stupid things for people, then their welfare is not obtained. How can a poor person ever become financially stable if he doesn't first understand that he has to make his expenses within his income? That is the first step of any financial literacy. Once you're trained to do that, then you start step 2, which is learning to invest what extra. And once you achieve that much, then you start strategizing and say, okay, actually, I need to save this much. And therefore, first I will save and invest, and then I will spend. But this has to go in stages. It cannot go, okay, first, I have to, first give me an advance. No, you will not. I will make you financially self-sufficient. But you're going to follow this process. Now, where's the question of anyone taking you for a ride? Not only they don't take you for a ride, eventually they begin to respect it and follow it, and therefore become financially stable. Why would anyone take us for a ride if we have our wits about it? And you're strong enough, right? When you're really doing it for someone else, you're strong enough to do it. Why can I not say no to people? Because I'm so worried of what they will say about me. Otherwise, what is the difficulty in saying no? No, I won't do it. This is not good for you. I won't do it. Why is that not clear? So when you understand that progress for yourself is purification, and progress for the other person is whatever he wants the progress in, he or she wants the progress in, and you live your life with that attitude of service and sacrifice all the time, not a check once in a while, just all the time you live life. It's not an occasional thing. It's not a general thing. It's just the way you live your life. And the result will be you will experience great peace. You will experience great abundance. You will experience great power. You will experience all the various things that at one stage you thought, oh, you should have all these things. It's just like a child craves, right, for toys. How much that child, go mad in a toy shop. You take a child, so much craving for that. But when is that child able to have all the toys of the world?
When he grows up.
When he grows up. It's exactly like that with us. So many things we crave for. But grow up. They all become yours. That's what Christ said. Knock, and it shall be given unto you. When you knock at the doors of the higher, everything will be given unto you. Why are you? But it's so frightening to let go my self-interest. So frightening. It terrifies me. Oh my God, to give up my self-interest. Therefore, in Vedanta, nobody asks you to give up self-interest. What do they ask you to do?
Pick up the
Higher
highest.
goal.
Pick up a idea.
Very good. Take up a high. The self-interest will drop off naturally. Now, when we talk about taking up a higher, there should be some dedication to it, not my part-time. Like some people tell me, they're very innocent. What do I say to them? I'm so busy nowadays. I just can't listen to the lectures. But as and when I get time, I listen to it on YouTube. Today, poor thing, one girl got ticked off. What do you mean, as and when you get time, you listen to Vedanta? What sense does that make? As and when you get time, you do other work. This is your priority. No, I will do it when I get time. This you will do when you get time. You'll brush your teeth when you will get time. Or you will brush your teeth as a commitment. It's all ulta in our heads, It's very odd. People make a commitment, I will go one international tour every year. Where is the commitment? 1 week I will spend with Vedanta every year. And we are all serious to it. How can you be a serious student and not want to spend 1 week with them? 1 week of the year just doing this. I mean, just imagine golfers, they would want to spend 1 week playing golf, isn't it? Film addicts would like to spend 1 week seeing films. Readers would love to spend a week reading in the year. And Vedantans say, oh, I'm so fond of Vedanta, but I cannot spend 1 week doing it. So who are you fooling? Isn't that strange? So our first and primary duty is always towards self-development. Those who understand, those who live that unselfish life, because don't segregate self-development and unselfishness. The segregation cannot be done. You cannot say, I want self-development, but I will be selfish. Ye nahi hoga. You better kill that ego for the higher. Such a person is Bharatarsha, the bull among the Bharatas. Bull among the Bharatas means most dedicated to service. Amongst those who are looking for self-development, most dedicated to service. Amongst them. Now, why is bull associated with service? Because that's what the bull does. All through its life. It serves you and serves you and serves. In exchange, what do you give it? A little bit of grass to eat. That too, it eats the same grass twice. It doesn't even say, abhi subah ka khana ho gaya, ab raat ka khana do. No, he did the same subah ka khana only at night. So much service, right? How much the bull and the cow do for us. And they do and they do and they do. And ask for nothing. That glory of that attitude in life is the bull. So, oh Arjuna, you are Bharatarsha, you are the bull among the Bharata. And through Arjuna, he's referring to us. You are amongst the best. And live up to that teacher. Yes, Bharat.
Yeah, so Janki, we said that you need the goodness to relate to this knowledge, but how do you get the goodness without the knowledge?
These are all the problems of life, Bharat. What to do? You have to get a certain amount of goodness before you approach it. That's why Upanishad starts sometimes with the word atha. Kaivalya and all this start with the word atha. Atha means then, now, So it just gives you a feeling that something has happened and now this, or then this. So that word atha says, oh, you please have done all of this before you come to Upanishad studies. So you say, how do I become all this unless I have done Upanishadic studies? Tough luck. Unless you're prepared, you will not want the higher. How do I get prepared? By seeking the higher. How do you seek the higher? By getting prepared. Now don't blame me. Main kya karu? I am only telling you the facts of life. So you don't need to worry because you're already here. Now what we need to worry about is
How to move on to the next step.
how to make the most of the fact that somehow I reached here. God knows how I reached, but somehow I reached here. Chalo, abhi se shuru karte hain. How dedicated can I be? How much can I prioritize this over every other thing? Not like in some fanatic kind of way, okay? Because whatever is said can be misunderstood. Oh, I'm going to leave my wife and children. Why are you leaving your wife and children? I am prioritizing Vedanta. Okay, go and live with your wife and children. Over there, you will learn Vedanta. Try that. They don't get away to live Vedanta. There's no Vedanta is a mental attitude. It is not where your physical body is. Okay, so Bharat, how do you do it? I don't know. Nobody knows. Why does somebody want it and somebody not want it? Nobody knows. But now, for whatever reason, we are here. So now that we're here, let's make the most of the opportunity. Let's not let it go now. all sorts of things will happen. People around us will be unwell, people around us will be in financial problems, we will be unwell, we may have financial problems, we may have mental problems, we may have business issues, and 1 million things can happen. But they are all spokes on the wheel of life. They are not. There are many, many, many things we have to deal with. Things that have been pushed onto us, things that you have yourself foolishly taken upon yourself, such as trying to build a Vedanta university or whatever stuff is going on. It is not the focus. It is not the fulcrum. The focus, the fulcrum is elsewhere. And because something else is the fulcrum, therefore all of this will go much better. That is what we have to do. Okay, Bharat, are you going to say you didn't even answer my question? It is also true. You can say it.
Sorry. I'm going to say what?
That you didn't even answer my question. Now I don't know the answer. If I knew the answer, why would I not convert the whole world to this?
No, so maybe if this is the answer. So if a selfish person is beaten up enough in life, so can that at least prompt him to seek something better? No.
You answer that question. How many selfish people you know who have been beaten up? You may have beaten them up yourself.
That's what I was going to say.
So now, did any result come out of it? Experiment. Just go experiment. I don't know what I'm telling you, but all theories have to be experimented to find out. Bharat, I hope you'll be here next week also. Okay, so there's no answer. There is no answer. How many selfish, self-centered people suffer so much in life innocently? They're too innocent, they're too ignorant for us to even accuse them of selfishness. I mean, you can't even call it selfish because what somebody is so innocent, now what are you going to call selfish? They suffer and suffer and suffer. And you can't catch hold of them and say, this ain't working, buddy. There are people, the worst case is also people who are taking wrong action now and are not suffering. And you know that suffering is going to start. And there's nothing you can do. What can you do? Who is going to listen? Who's interested in listening? People who decide to attend class don't listen. So na bahar walon ka kya bole? So no, can't be done. Sorry, Bharat. Otherwise, we could have used your services only. Chalo jao, sabko maar peet ke leke aao. नहीं हो सकता.
Okay, thank you.
Prashant, you have a question?
Yes, thank you, ma'am. I don't know whether it's actually in between the agenda of the class or can I ask the question?
If it's along this line of thought, yes, certainly. But if it's suddenly about what happens after death, then no.
No. You talk about the point around selfishness, right? And the idea is to live unselfishly the life, right? However, there is a field of study or body of knowledge also called psychology, where they actually define certain types of characters and suggest a way that, okay, you do not need to be living as a codependent, you have your needs as well, and those needs need to be fulfilled. So you've got to focus upon your own needs as well, and that's very important. So how does that fit in with regards to the unselfish way of living? Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. It fits in completely because let us say that I possess a washing machine and I want to use this for everybody's welfare. Can I use it for as an air conditioner? I want to benefit you. You are hot. You need an air conditioner. I have a washing machine. Can I use my washing machine to give you cool air?
No.
No. So clear, right? So the washing machine has its own abilities, its own capacities, its own everything. It will have to be treated as a washing machine is treated. You can't say, I want to serve you, so I will use this washing machine as a, I don't know, as an air conditioner. Correct? So when people are telling you that you have to understand who you are, you have to follow, you have to sort of attend to your own needs, all of that, of course, how can that not be true? However, when somebody wants clothes washed, please get the clothes washed for them. Right? So unselfishness is always based on swadharma. You cannot be unselfish. Is this your first class?
Yes.
Okay,
Sorry.
so this is a little bit of a problem we do have here because now, it's a Betty Ganga and you're all jumping in. So let's get the whole theory clear. How do you do something unselfish in life? You begin first by identifying your own nature. You understand your own swadharma, right? What you're good at, what you're bad at, what you need, what you don't need. All of this put together means all your vasanas put together is your swadharma. Within the scope of your swadharma, you then fix a higher goal and you serve that higher cause or that higher goal. That is called unselfish. Most people understand unselfishness is I ask you for some money, you give me the money, and that you're unselfish. This is not unselfish. Okay, chalo, something. So there are various. So what is being recommended is you work for a higher goal in life, and you sacrifice your immediate likes and dislikes, your petty likes and dislikes for that higher goal. But it is within the sphere of your swadharma, right? So anyway, 90% is going to be what you like. So if you leave the whole thing and then you suddenly go off and do some strange thing, then your personality gets warped. Right? Suppose, let's say, what do you do, Prashant?
So I used to work as an IT project manager. I got fired.
Yeah, all IT project managers get fired. It's just part of the job description, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you are an IT project manager. Now you cannot become a chemical engineer just because somebody wants a chemical engineer. You will have to do IT. Right? So
Yeah.
when you do IT, because that is your swadharma, that's not being selfish. That's your swadharma. What else can you do? So what you have heard that you must look after your own needs, take care of your personality, of course, that's a given. But within that sphere now, you have to have a higher goal. Like
So
as an
that is-
IT manager,
Yeah.
you can work for your salary or you can work with a vision. So what they say is work with a vision. What is a vision? You're working for the corporation, you're working for the IT industry, you're working for your customers, whatever anyone's vision is. Why are you doing this? That's
Yeah.
also.
My understanding is to practice the values, but then certain philosophies in these realms kind of confuse things, and it gets difficult to kind of agree to a point.
No, don't. If you are, this is a very good point for the whole class that when you hear other philosophies and what they are saying seems to make sense to you, please accept that that is a sensible thing. That is why it's appearing to make sense. Now, what you do in Vedanta is learn where to slot that piece of information. Okay, so that it's no longer contradictory to other information.
Mm.
That is why you study philosophy, because then you understand the whole picture. And then these are just pieces in place, they're not contradictions. Like, for instance, take Ayn Rand. Have you ever read Ayn Rand? Yeah. So Ayn Rand says the philosophy of selfishness. Right? She is like all gung-ho with selfishness. And she's right. But she's using the word selfishness differently from the way we are using it here.
I
What
understand.
she says is correct.
Yeah.
She's again gone back to Swadharma. You must be in your Swadharma and you must be damn good at it. So if you really look at the character of Howard Roark, he's an unselfish person by our definition.
Yeah, I think to put that basically into a category of selfish and unselfish is perhaps not the goal of the living life as unselfish. I think it's about balance to the right moment, to the right person in front of you, to the right requirements. I think it's a little complicated, ma'am. It doesn't fit in the theory.
No, it's not complicated if you get the sequence correct.
Yeah.
Right? So, okay, so let's start sequence. First, you fix your Swadharma.
Yeah.
Then you fix a higher goal. Then you use your intellect to direct the mind to that higher goal.
Hmm.
Right? So when you're using your intellect, what you're calling balance will obviously come because now you're being discriminate in what you're doing. So
Yeah.
if you just go, this is what we should do as students of Vedanta. Just try to get a grasp on the whole picture. And then slowly, slowly, you begin to see how all the various inputs that people are making, they're all fitting in very nicely into the whole picture. But if you don't get the whole picture, then you're always dichotomous in your head, but ye bhi theek tha aur wo bhi theek.
Yes. Yeah. That is my problem.
Yeah, or everybody is not yours. You wouldn't be in this class had you not got that. The reason you have that is because you're questioning. 90% of people will don't question it. So they'll say, somebody will say unselfish. Yes, you have to be unselfish. And some next person then me, you have to be selfish. Yes, you have to be selfish. They don't even get that these are contradictory things in the way they have understood these terms. But jo bol raha hai uska agree karo. They will also say it's not just that they agree. They will themselves at one time claim how great unselfishness is, another time claim how great selfishness is. All this nakra they do, they don't understand they're being self-conscious. That is why you have a full philosophy that puts all these things in position. Like a jigsaw. As you study systematically, all the pieces will fall in place.
Yeah. Let's do that. Thank you.
Yeah, Prem, you had something?
Stephen Covey, in his highly effective, habits of highly effective people, so he put 4 quadrants. Win, 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 lose, 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 and all that. So in this quadrant, if I lose and make someone else win, is that better or should we have win-win? When we say unselfish, what do we mean?
Okay, so unselfish at the very lowest level means that I can work with you together and it's called cooperative endeavor, that we can both work together and everybody will benefit. At a higher level of unselfishness, it means that I am not getting any benefit, but I'm doing this for your sake, such as charity and things like that. At the highest level of unselfishness, it means that I'm actually going to harm myself so that you benefit. So, cooperative endeavor is the very minimum we have to do. But the highest and best is like Shahid Bhagat Singh. He's harmed himself that you will benefit.
So it depends basically upon where we uh, put ourselves, right, when doing an action.
It depends on where you are, not where you put yourself. If
Yeah.
you can't do the higher form of service, can we all behave like Bhagat Singh? Why do we appreciate army people so much? Why do we appreciate business people, right? They make a lot of money. Because of them the economy grows. Because of them so many people get jobs. It's a fantastic thing. But this happens because of cooperative endeavor. But the way you respect somebody who has become shaheed, someone who's given up his life for his country, the different level of respect, no? You see the difference between these two things, right? You don't have to agree, you can just listen. There is a scope for disagreement in Vedanta. So as long as we understand that basically if I can give up my self-interest for you, then that's a very high form of service and not everybody is capable of that. But if you try and do it when you're not capable of it, you will become highly frustrated. So Stephen Covey is right. Stephen Covey is a management guru. In work life, if you cannot work in a spirit of cooperative endeavor, that field, that business will not do well. So everybody has to work together. Now we are setting up the Vedanta University. And we all have to work together, right? And when we all work together, everybody's going to benefit out of this. Which is very different from a person who just gives, like a person who does a lot of charity, for instance, like he's given away 90% of his wealth. That's different level, no? And somebody who gives up his life. Think about it.
It depends on the level of love that you had for that thing or the person or the...
And your own growth.
And
if you've not grown, how do you execute that? So don't worry about higher levels. What we need to know is, I have to work with a spirit of cooperative endeavor wherever I go. That much at least I cannot let go. That much at least I have to. And how will I work with the spirit of cooperative endeavor?
What is told here is keeping people happy on the team.
No. You can make people unhappy on the team, no problem. By the way, if you ever join our team, you'll find out how unhappy I make them. So I cannot say that. They'll all get up and say, but you are making me so unhappy. Sometimes that's my job.
Yeah.
So no, we are not keeping people happy. How do you do it? How do you work with the spirit of cooperative endeavor? I don't know why you're not quiet. Ask the same question at the beginning of the class. Everybody knew the answer. Now again, I'm asking the same question, just with different words and all quiet.
Have the higher goal in mind always.
Very good. Why so long?
Coordinated wills for a goal, right?
Sorry?
Coordinated wills for a shared goal. That's...
You don't worry about other people having will. You have the will towards that higher goal. What is that? Tobe daksha torena tobe ekla chalo re. If nobody walks with you, walk alone. You don't look behind. People will follow you. That's their job or not. Your job is to be dedicated to the higher goal. And when you do that, you will work with the spirit of cooperative endeavor because that goal has to be achieved. You're not going to do it alone. You're not capable of doing it alone. No big goal is achieved by any individual. Okay? Anyway, you don't have to digest everything, understand everything, agree with everything today. Today, just hear it. Maybe it will make sense. Aditi, can it be attributed to vasanas of the past births, progressing in every birth to reach? Yes, but then everything can be attributed to vasana, so that doesn't actually answer any question. Because anything I ask you, why does Aditi behave like this? Vasanas. Why does Deepraj behave like this? Vasanas. Why did this happen? Vasanas. So it becomes a generalization. I mean, it is true, but it's not helpful in the sense of, so how is this helping me? So in that sense, but it's true, yes, everything is attributed to vasana. There is nothing that is not attributed to vasana. So since it's common, we take it out of the equation. All right, so back to our verse 27. Verse 20. Oh, Prem, you have another question? Go ahead. You're muted, I can't hear you.
Same thing, ma'am. See, he also has another framework where he says dependent, independent, interdependent. So dependent means someone, I require something, I can't do it myself. Independent, I don't require any help or any service from others. Interdependent is I don't require, but I still allow someone to serve me or I serve somebody. I don't have to get anything. So is he missing so he's covering by interdependent, he's covering the second stage, means I don't get anything benefit, but I'm still giving it to you.
No, he's only
So you
come
mean
to
he's missing the next stage, which
He
is
has
the
come-
martyr stage?
he has come to cooperative endeavor, which is great. That is why he was so successful, and that is why he was able to make other people successful, because he's talking to a bunch of extremely selfish people and he's moved them to cooperative endeavor. So therefore he was such a great guru in the management world, because he was able to make people move. Like how simple things he would say: seek to understand before you seek to be understood. It's a simple thing. What does it mean? It means like it's not all about you, right? He keeps all his thing, his whole world is around what the Gita says in one word: Loka Sangra. So he's come up to that position. But now, poor fellow, nobody taught him any Vedanta, so he didn't think of going further, or he may have known it himself and didn't find it appropriate to tell the people he was teaching.
No, but he puts martyr, which is losing and making others win, negatively. He doesn't put it favorably.
Yeah, because in his framework, the martyr is not a martyr. The martyr is an idiot. What kind of foolish framework is this, that you and I are running a business and you get 100% of the profit and I get 100% of the work? So I'm an idiot if I do this. This is not a martyr. A martyr is Bhagat Singh. A martyr is Joan of Arc. A martyr is people like that. They don't fall in this framework. But the rest of us, in our attempts to be unselfish, become passive. Passive means "aa bail mujhe maar." So there's a Belizean saying: make yourself a doormat and everyone will wipe their feet on you. So that is malice. In Vedanta, it's called passive behavior. So he is referring to that. And we agree, of course we agree. Milind, I have decided to drop my ego. Is it not selfishness? I have decided to drop my ego. Is it not selfishness? Isn't that a contradiction in terms? If I don't have an ego, how can I be selfish? So it's a contradiction in terms, right? Without ego, how can we be? I mean, ego and selfishness will go together. No, ego means what? My focus is on myself. Selfishness means what? I do everything for myself. So these two go together. I have decided to drop my ego. Is it not selfishness? I don't know how that works. No. So in answer, no. However, if you say I decided to drop my ego, the methodology is not correct, because you can't drop an ego. How do you drop an ego? However, if you do drop an ego, whatever way, your selfishness will go away also. But you can't do it like that. It is an impractical methodology. I have decided to drop my ego. You can never drop ego. You can never drop desires. So methodology is not correct. But if whatever way you drop your ego, your selfishness will also. Okay? Now, verse 27 said, quick, summarize and give me. Don't be like that. Summary, quick summary. It should not take you more than 3-4 words. 5 words actually. Come on, chaldi. So,
Spirit and matter is available in things which are moving, unmoving.
Too many words, Surekha, but yes, you got the point. So Deepraj has put it down. Spirit plus matter is equal to individual. The same boring stuff. Only thing is, if you understand it, you will look at your world. Imagine whatever you're looking at in this world, you're looking at God. What will be your attitude to this world? You actually understand this thing. It is so simple. It is deceptively simple. The whole world, everything you see, whatever your eyes can set on, whatever your ears can hear, whatever you can touch, whatever you can smell, whatever you can taste, anywhere your senses go, there is God and God alone. And you don't know this, and that's called matter. So everything is that combination of that ignorance and knowledge. An impossible combination. How can it be ignorance and knowledge? It is just like in the Upanishads, they give the example of wood. Just like wood is a combination of fuel and fire. Impossible, no? How can fuel and fire live together? Can fuel and fire be married? Can't, no? But just think of wood. In the olden times, they used to, how did they make fire? They didn't have anything to make fire with. So what did they do? They would rub wood. And when they rubbed the wood, the fire would start. It didn't come from an external source. It was right there. The element fire has to be there, no? When you have rubbed it and then fire has come, that means it was there. That means wood is that impossible combination of fire and fuel. And so is the rest of this world. An impossible combination of God and matter, of knowledge and ignorance, of the truth and the falsehood. Like when you see a mirage, it's an impossible combination of truth and falsehood, right? When you see a mirage in the desert is there. What you're seeing is a mirage. So that mirage has to have the desert, otherwise where the mirage come from? Impossible combination. So the whole world is the Lord and the Lord alone. Then why do you say matter is there? Because that's the ignorance. You can't see this. So that's that combination. Everything you're seeing is the Lord plus matter. Is knowledge plus ignorance. Is the truth and falsehood. Now it's up to you. What do you want to focus on? You want to focus on the knowledge or the ignorance? You want to focus on the divinity or the matter? What do you want to focus on? Whatever it is all there. So he says, whatever be, yavat sanjayate kinchit sattvam stavara jangamam, any being, moving or unmoving, kshetra kshetragnya sanyogat, out of the combination of the kshetra and kshetragnya, tat vidhi, pleads with us, get it, understand it. It's not rocket science, okay? It's the simplest thing or the most difficult thing, whichever one you want to think of it as. Please understand, it's all a combination. Oh Bharatarshava, oh you who are so great, you have come to this knowledge. That means you have unselfishness, you have some mobility, you have some unselfishness, you have some interest also. Do not let it go at this stage. Dedicate to finding that divinity within. That's what he says. Tat vidhi, know this, know this. If you know that it's a combination, how can you ignore God and look at the devil? How can you? Tat vidhi, know this, O Bharatarshava. Yeah, Prem.
I had this understanding, correct me if I'm wrong. So I was thinking that science is also Advaita, because it is talking of only one thing. It is not talking of two things. The order of realities are different. Like it is talking of matter and energy. That is the base. Like Prakriti, that is the base. And consciousness is an emergent property which comes and goes. It doesn't have an independent reality on its own. Without matter, consciousness doesn't have reality. If the body goes, the consciousness goes. So it is also talking of Advaita, but Prakriti is the main thing. It's the only reality. The other thing comes and goes. Now we are talking exactly opposite. Vedanta is telling consciousness is the base, matter is the emergent property which comes and goes. Now Sankhya and Yoga, that philosophy is talking of two independent realities, matter and consciousness. Now, is there any pure consciousness of matter? No, there are three different philosophies. Now, which is right? Do we really have a pure consciousness or pure matter? Means if we see an inert matter, is it pure matter? There's no consciousness there. Or do we have a state where there is, some people say Turiya doesn't. It's not a state. It is there all through the three states. The three is the states, but that is not there as separate. And when we are taking an inert object, it doesn't exist without consciousness. At least you have to be, someone has to be aware of that. So there's always a mixture. Even in samadhi, my causal body is there. It's not that I don't have a body. So matter is always there with consciousness. Consciousness is always there with matter. So where is the Sankhya coming in and telling that they have independent realities? It's just used as a bridge.
Yes, you're right. There are multiple versions of this. There is only matter. There is only consciousness. There is matter and consciousness. You got three versions of it. Now, I can only tell you what Advaita says. What is the truth? You will have to find on your own. Suppose I tell you only consciousness, or I tell you only matter, or I tell you it's a combination. How does that impact your life at all? Because you will continue to be in the same duvidha. You have to find this for yourself. You ask me, I will say X. You ask Deepraj, he will say Y. You ask Prashant, he will say Z. And you can go from person to person asking. Each person will tell you what they think, but it will not help. You will have to, for yourself, figure this out.
One thing which saves me is that if I support science, suppose I go by their saying, I'm not going to get enlightened and I'm not going to end my suffering. So Advaita only will, if I'm conscious, I'm everything, that will solve my problem. That way I am having a bias.
No.
Because if I take that stance, I may be materially successful, but Purnatvam and all is not going to come. I'm going to be limited in the whole scheme of things.
That logic is not correct. That is not given as logic. That is given as emotional appeal. But the logic doesn't work. I mean, I would say that myself. But now that you ask, please understand that logic is not correct. Because if you're going with the stance of science, then there is no Purnatvam to obtain. There is no removal of suffering to obtain. That is their whole thing, right? So in that particular worldview, there is no enlightenment. There is nothing. How would you find it? Because it's not there. Okay, so that's the worldview. So logic doesn't work for us. We of course say it because it's a nice thing to say, but it's not a logical thing to say. Now, if as a seeker of truth, you have no option but to walk the path you believe in and eventually find out whether you are right or not. You'll have to choose a path to walk, right? So if you're choosing a path, then you will choose it your way. And eventually, if you do that path properly, you'll find out whether you are right or not. Okay, sorry, I'm not very helpful, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. All right. Okay, so that's it for today. And I hope that to see you all at the retreat, especially if you believe yourself to be a serious student. 1 week in the year, 2 weeks in the year, the whole course is 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks or whatever it is. We were doing the Kena Upanishad. It's a wonderful opportunity to get together and study Kena Upanishad.